Hello and welcome everyone to the first session of day 2. Today we have Journey Ahead, an inside look into the product roadmap. And our BiblioCommons product team is with us. We have Nina, who is the Director of Product Management. Her pronouns are she, her. Tim is here with us. He's the Product Manager for BiblioCore and BiblioEvents, and his pronouns are he, him. Francis is the Technical Product Manager for BiblioApps, and his pronouns are he, him. And Natasha is the Senior Product Manager for BiblioWeb, and her pronouns are she, her. My name is Elena Franco, and I'm the Marketing Director at BiblioCommons. And before we start the session, I want to remind you that you can chat and say hello to session attendees or ask questions to our presenters by using the chat panel on the right side of your screen. Please add your roadmap questions to the chat. However, if you have any questions that are specifically about product features, they can be added and they can be addressed during the office hours tomorrow. So please head on over to the partner portal to submit those questions. If you'd like, you can turn on a live transcript by clicking on the button located at the bottom of the video stream on the purple bar. And if you need a transcript of any of these sessions, you can request them and we'll make them available to you. With all that said, I will hand things over to Nina to take it away.
Thank you so much, Eliana, and welcome everyone. Very excited to tell you more about what we are working on. So before we kick things off, those of you who have seen me present before know that I love a good pop culture reference to frame things. So here we go. I hope there are some Michelle Yeoh fans out there. This kaleidoscopic, bizarre poster for her film, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, it really resonates with me. When I saw this movie, I felt it on many levels. As the kid of Asian immigrants who grew up working in a small business, as a lover of martial arts movies and of bagels, but mostly it resonated with me because I think it really articulates how it feels to exist and work in library land in 2023. Often it feels like you are library partners and we are trying to do and be everything for everyone all at once. But our job as product managers here at BiblioCommons is to make sure that everything and perfect are not the enemy of doing some things very well, and that every year that you are here with us, you and your patrons experience more and more value. So this year and going into the next year, we've established a few major themes to help us prioritize and deliver some extraordinary features and solutions. And those aren't necessarily all new themes. So some of the things you'll see certainly echo back into the past, but they don't cover absolutely every task that we tackle, but I do think they help frame and give context to the numerous features that you see us working on and shipping each quarter, and that you'll see in the detailed roadmaps today. So without further ado, let's talk about them. So number one, we want to empower all patrons to have a personal library experience. So libraries do have a little something for everyone, and we want to help make that bridge and bridge that gap between the patron and the library and help them feel themselves reflected in the library online. We're continually working on features that put power in our patrons' hands to find, curate, collect, and experience the resources of their library in ways that reflect them. And we want to make sure those features work for everyone from every ability and background, just like the library does. That includes accessibility work, etc., which you'll talk about in a second. We're committed to doing this in explicit ways, and we'll continue to expand and deepen those features while always maintaining patron comprehension of them, privacy, and of course, control. Next, we want to make it feel like magic when the right content appears in the front of the right audience at the right time, but without putting any more pressure on you, because we know that you already have at least 3 jobs each. So you'll hear a little bit more about how we're building smart content for that. Number 3, we love data, but only when it is usable and, or better yet, lovable by the people who need it to make decisions. And of course, only when it respects patron and library privacy. So we're investing a lot into our data platform, but also into reports, documentation, professional services, and meetups and additional products that will help make data lovable for our libraries and help you build a loving relationship with that data. Number 4, we're working hard behind the scenes continuously to improve and make our backend systems, our integrations, all of those pieces resilient, stable, and secure. Sometimes these things are full of acronyms and hard to follow, but the point is that we're continuously investing in them to make sure that as we grow and as you grow, we can grow and keep things extraordinarily performant, stable, and secure. We're also investing in our communication. So as we do more and more things, we want to make sure that you're up to date and you really understand all of those pieces. So you'll see later details on how we're updating all of the product communications through our life cycle to make sure it's easier for you to stay informed and up to date with everything BiblioCommons has to offer. So before we jump into the product by product roadmap, I just wanted to bring up a few highlights of how we're delivering these different experiences, both this year and next year. So from a personal patron experience perspective, we continue to be dedicated, of course, to accessibility. We've been making significant accessibility improvements, including based on feedback from the National Network of Equitable Library Services here in Canada, to make sure that anyone who is using, whether it's an assisted device or a browser extension or those kinds of things, can really use our products to the best of their ability, and that they have a personal experience with our products. In addition to that, we're building formal customization and personalization features, including multi-accounts and home screen customization, My Events, as well as building an entire product built around increasing personal and engaging experiences for patrons. Going into next year, you'll see more and more of those personalization features, of course, using explicit signals and giving patrons control. And we'll be building on that PME product as well. As for our second theme with smart content, you'll have seen in the past year, we have delivered personalized promos, and that's continuing to roll out across BiblioCore for BiblioWeb libraries. We've also done scheduling for system messages, spotlight templates, a lot to do with content freshness, all of which you'll hear a little bit more about later. And looking forward to the next year, we're working on the next generation of lists for BiblioCore and what that patron experience is going to be, as well as working on online resources and other BiblioWeb content in BiblioApp. So really making sure that wherever you make content in our suite of products, you can use it everywhere in contextual and smart ways. Onto our third pillar, talking about democratizing data. So over the past year, maybe 2 years, we've actually been working hard on what we call BiblioCommons Analytics Platform, and I'll talk a bit about that in a second. And that's a data layer across all of our products, including BiblioApps. And that's going to help bring all the data that is the rich data and the rich experiences of our patrons to life for you. But we want to make that easy and we want to make it possible. So we're developing explorations, case studies, and reports to make that easier to access and enjoy. We're also offering custom reporting through professional services. And again, we're building this major product called Patron Metrics and Engagement, which will build on that and deliver even further on the engagement data. Going into 2024, we want to be hosting data meetups and trainings. You'll see a survey in the chat, I believe, and we'd love for you to fill that out and tell us more about what you'd like to see in a meetup or training around data. We're also bringing on some early North Star partners. We're very excited. We'll be announcing those soon. We would love to have a few more. So if you're interested, please do let us know. Folks are coming on to help with that patron metrics and engagement project. And then finally, in terms of peace of mind, we're doing continuous improvement, like I said, to security, stability, and performance. Our approach here spans from continuous investments in our physical and virtual tech stack, all the way over to quarterly trainings and professional development to make sure our R&D teams have the knowledge they need to continuously deliver that every quarter. As the internet evolves and as technology evolves, we're evolving right along with it. And then we're also doing a number of things from a communications perspective, which we'll talk a bit about more deeply, but we're working with you and doing usability studies and on the partner portal, et cetera, to make sure that the communications that we are providing are really landing and helpful and usable for you. Okay, enough context. Show me the roadmaps. Let's get into them, but just a few quick housekeeping notes. I know Eliana mentioned at the beginning, we've got an action-packed session. So I'll just request that you add your questions in the chat. And if you're a customer, join us tomorrow for office hours for specific product questions. And if we don't get to a live Q&A today, we'll follow up with any chat questions after the session. All right, let's jump right in. I'm going to tell you about the BiblioCommons analytics platform. So we have a session again later today where I'm going to go into very specific detail on all of the pieces of the BiblioCommons analytics platform, as well as how you can get started in using it. So I'll just give a little bit of context here and tell you what we've delivered in the past year and where we're going. So the BiblioCommons analytics platform really unifies our tracking across and between products. There is no personally identifiable information involved. This is all aggregated data, but it really unifies the way that we track everything across all of our products. And we use GA4 as the backbone for that, but it's really a very custom implementation of that. And the point of that, the benefit of that is that we can then take and compare across and between products, and we can track folks between products as they move seamlessly through the suite. That also provides the foundation for what we're calling the North Star model, which we're building in with our patron metrics and engagement partners. So where do we go from here? We want to help you and your staff fall in love with that data. So we've built those data foundations. Where do we go? So we want to learn together with you and also help you learn. So we'll be hosting more dedicated webinars specifically to the BiblioCommons analytics platform. We're meeting today, and we have some fantastic customers who are going to be talking about their experience using the BiblioCommons analytics platform and how they're creating reports and what they're doing to protect customer privacy. Please do attend, highly recommend. And then, of course, like I said, we'd like to be hosting more meetups around data and breakout sessions next year. Next, we want to actually help you build the muscle of using data. So we know that not all libraries are far along on their journey in terms of data, and we want to be your partner along the way. So how are we going to do that? We're going to provide step-by-step case studies and video tutorials, follow-along exploration examples, but we also are offering those professional services in terms of consulting to help you kickstart your practice or train your staff, as well as experimentation advice. So let's say you want to do an experiment on your website or in your library. We'd love to help advise you, help you set that up, help you understand how to measure it and take it to the next level. And then finally, we want to help you go further. So as you're building that muscle, once you've built your practice, or even as you're doing it, we're happy to provide, again, some consulting for custom reports. We've had some really interesting requests from customers already, as well as strategic and annual reports. We've had that request to help pull some broader data and figure out how to set up sort of annual reporting data. And then, of course, like I said, becoming a patron metrics and engagement partner to help shape the future of data with BiblioCommons. Okay, so that's enough from me. I will be passing it on to my colleague, Tim, to tell you a little bit about what's coming for BiblioCore.
Hi, everyone. It's Tim. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the product manager for BiblioCore and Biblio events. For everyone I do know, hello, it's nice to see you. I feel like I haven't really presented to you recently. It has been really feature-packed, both in front of what you can see and behind the scenes, as Nina was saying. And there's more to come in Q3 and Q4, which is really exciting. And it's on the next slide, which will be on your screen very shortly. And here it is. So I'm not going to go over absolutely everything here. I'm just going to call out some highlights about things that I think are really exciting and that you'll all be really excited about too. So things that we're going to see released in Q4, integration with Atlas Systems Eon. So this is an archival management platform that allows users to request and then allows the library to manage the workflow around those. So that's really neat and coming soon. We're going to see a ton of additional events and other things coming for the Google Analytics 4 integration that we've built through the BiblioCommons analytics platform that Nina was talking about earlier. So if you want to learn more about that, definitely sessions later today and office hours tomorrow. If you have any questions, please attend. We'll be there to help you out with those. In preview, this is a very highly ranked, voted on idea on AHA right now, increase the number of results per page on search. So we will be experimenting with that and taking that to preview in Q4 as well. So that's really neat to see there. Adding stuff, tags, the ability to add tags on the bid page will be making a return as well. So we'll be working on that in development. This tags provide a really great way to sort of highlight both diverse voices and titles for diverse people. So ranges of people. So yeah, the ability for staff to add tags from the bid page will be making a comeback. Really excited about that. There'll be some other things that we were looking at in research. TLS 1.3 support for our connectors. This has been something we've heard from libraries recently, so we're going to begin an investigation on that. Improved patron landing and borrowing experience. The future of the recent activity page. This is the sort of landing page, the home page of the BiblioCore catalog right now. Lots of recent activity. We'll be looking at what the future of that page is and how we can make the most of that landing experience for our users. And the one giant thing that we have here, as you can see, is the list display, the next generation of list, which is on the next slide. And on the next slide, I'm going to give you an idea about what it is. And first of all, I want to thank Burlington Public Library for this amazing list. It's exactly what we want to see. I'm really vibing with it. It's great content. But I've really enjoyed over the last few months having some interviews along with Ashley on my team, talking about lists and the value that you all get from them and the value and the sort of creative effort that you put into creating them. Being really great for me. Lists, I think, touch every one of our products now, except for maybe events. But like a list is this sort of thing which is everywhere. And we want to make some improvements to this experience to really make the most of the effort that you're putting into creating these beautiful pieces of content. You will see something like this. It will be improved visual design, which I hope you can see on the screen. There's lots of ways we can improve on accessibility from the V1 page. You'll see those too. Improve analytics offerings on this page. I think that's being made really key to us throughout the interview process that we were sort of talking to libraries and just generally from what we're seeing in AHA and previously the partner portal. So lots of great ways we can collect more data around lists to make and help you make decisions about which content to create and which content is doing well. SEO improvements too, we'll be able to make some of those, which is really great. So that will increase discoverability of lists external to the catalog as well, which is always great. There'll be a few new features on the page highlighting other formats of list titles is going to be key. I know the sort of Berberization of lists has been a trending idea on AHA. So more to come and more to share on this soon. And we'll also be looking at some improvements to the attribution of lists and how clear it is around, you know, who created the list, who the audience is, and whether they're a community or staff member as well. So lots of great things coming on that, which I'm really excited to share with you all soon. If anyone has any questions, office hours tomorrow, I think will be a great way to find out more. And I'm really excited to share more about this with you in a future webinar. And I'm also really excited about Biblio events because it's events and events are great. And on the next slide, again, we have a list of things which are going to be coming soon. Event attendance registration data to the events API. So we'll be making a few changes there to make that, that information available to you outside the Biblio events platform. In research, we've heard recently from a number of our partners around the having the ability to provide printable event brochures for their events in a kind of like easy to create, easy to share kind of way. So we'll be doing some research into that, which will sort of have some technical side to it and a visual side to it. Nothing really to share on it right now, but once I do, again, we'll be able to have share more about that in the future. And the one big thing in preview, which I'm super excited about, is My Events, which allows users to view and manage their event attendance online as part of their library account. So On the screen here, as you can imagine, users will be able to see events that they've registered for, that they're on the waitlist for, and events that have been cancelled if you have to do that, which is really sad for patrons. So they'll be able to see all of that online as part of their library account. They'll be able to see events that they've attended in the past, and they'll also be able to attend their own, manage their own event attendance as well. So if they want to cancel a registration, they can do that. If they want to remove an event from their account, they can do that also, and they'll be able to do things like you'd expect, like adding to calendar and faceting and all of that. So all of that without any staff intervention, which is really cool. So adding a new great self-service feature for patrons to be able to do that in their account along with their borrowing. I think this is really exciting. And there are lots of great things that this allows us to do and improve on in the future, which I'm also really excited about. Can you tell I'm excited? I don't know. The next slide, please. I'm interested in. So users will have the ability to save an event for later without needing to register or waitlist themselves. A lot of events don't, need waitlists or registration. So this will provide a way for users to flag an event on their account and then, be reminded of and see that there so they can remember to attend. Collecting feedback from users about events they attend. So this experience provides a great way to sort of collect feedback from users about what they thought of an event they attended, potentially survey them, ask them for comments. Lots of great potential there for improving that experience. And also it's a really great place to present event recommendations as well. So if you attended this event, why not attend that event? And similar to what Nina was saying before about personalization, you'll see a lot more of that coming through in 2024. It's really exciting. Be excited, people. If you're excited by that, Francis has some really exciting stuff coming on apps, which I think is coming next, unless it's not. It is apps. Amazing. Francis.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Tim. All right. So next slide. All right. So I'd like to highlight a few things that we'll be including in the Q4 BibleApps release. So let's start there. The release is going to include Save Search support, which will make it easy for users to access, create, and manage saved searches from within the app. As well, we'll be introducing a feature that will allow patrons to customize the layout of their home screen. So we'll talk a bit about that later on the next slide, in fact. And we'll be enhancing Google Analytics support with inclusion of all screen view events from within the app. So that's a big milestone for our team and really sets the foundation for some really cool data collections, so can't wait for that. We're also going to be in continuing preview for inclusion of BiblioWeb content within the app, in particular online resources, news, and blogs. So we've just kicked off that preview. Thank you again to our participating libraries. We really appreciate your time and feedback. Of course, we'll be busy working on new features as well. So I won't, I'll highlight a few things, but as Tim said, please refer to Partner Portal. All the information here is presented there. But a few highlights, one is that we'll be working on, it's just a working title currently, What Did You Think of Carousel? And really the intention is to encourage users to rate and review items for items on their shelves. Now, this allows patrons to help others find their next read, so contributing back to that community. But it also allows users to explicitly state what they like or don't like, which may be useful for providing future reading recommendations. So we're excited about that. And multi-account support, which we launched in late summer, will be extended to include the self-checkout screens. So that workflow is also going to be covered with multi-accounts. And yeah, we'll continue instrumenting the app with analytics. In particular, we want to understand how users are engaging with the home screen. So that'll be the next thing that we're tackling. So we'll be working on that. We're always at the same time that we're building features, improving the platform, doing research for the next great thing. So we've been digging into support for Apple Wallet. We know that's one of the highest requested features. Something that personally I would like as well. And then the ability for individuals to opt out of multi-accounts. So we're investing in support for that, as well as how we might be able to provide users with reading recommendations, starting with items on their shelf. In general, the feedback to provide in Partner Portal is key input into everything that we do. So I'd like to encourage you to keep those suggestions coming. That will inform in a very big way what we're doing next. Next screen. Okay, yeah. So one of the features coming out in November is patron home screen customization. So what's that mean? Well, one of the problems that we identified with the current home screen is that it currently takes a one-size-fits-all approach. A common example that we hear about is the New at the Library section at the top, which will display the latest titles acquired by the library. Many users find this very valuable, but there are some patrons that have shared that the content is perhaps too general or not reflective of their interest. So these users might prefer having this section displayed lower on the home screen or perhaps hidden altogether. So with the home screen customization feature, patrons will have the ability to control what they see on the screen and decide where they want to see it. So users will be able to toggle on or off sections of the home screen, as well as change the order of what appears there, all done in an accessible way. So this will allow users to see what is the most interesting to them when they load the app, because we know that real estate at the top is valuable. We want users to see what they want to see when they load the app. Next slide. Okay, so, yeah, all right. So recently we launched support for multi-accounts. So we know you've been waiting for this feature as it was the most requested one. So thanks everyone for your patience. And for libraries that have gone live with this feature, we hope your patrons are happy with the results. Either way, we'd love to hear how it's gone, good or bad. Next slide. So let's look at what this actually looks like. So what does the multi-accounts feature do? Well, firstly, it allows patrons to add multiple library cards, which are all easily accessible from the My Library Card screen. So users can easily scroll left and right between their different cards and activate a different account. Switching between accounts can be done from multiple touch points throughout the app, which means that users don't have to leave what they're currently doing to switch accounts. So for instance, if you're on the bid page, you're ready to put a hold on an item or put something on the shelf and you realize, oh, actually I want to do this for a different account. You don't have to go all the way back to the library card screen and switch there. We've been careful to make sure that kind of at key touch points, you can switch the account. And overall, this feature makes it easy to manage multiple accounts in the app without the need to log in and out of the app to switch between users. All right, so that is BiblioCommons.
Fantastic. Thank you, Francis. Without further ado, I will pass it to Natasha to tell us about BiblioWeb.
Great. So the BiblioWeb roadmap for Q4 has lots of functionality. Next slide. We have a lot of things being released and going into preview this quarter. I have slides on a number of the items, but just to call attention to a couple. In preview, we're going to be adding some improvements to the bulk editing functionality. So this will make it easy for staff to be able to bulk add and remove indications about cards, like if it's featured or evergreen, as well as card timeliness metadata that's used by personalized promotions. We'll also be introducing a new horizontal card crop. So currently the horizontal card uses the 2x1 image, but because that card style is fixed height, it kind of restricts the position in the image that staff can put text and faces. So this new card crop for the horizontal card, which is often used in premier positions, will allow staff to have a bit more control. And it will be optional, as we know lots of cards aren't put in the horizontal card position. In research, so we are investigating, along with our partners in BiblioCore, supporting BiblioWeb for additional consortium members. So currently we have support for one member library to use BiblioWeb, but we want to be able to support other member libraries within the consortia. So investigating support for that. We're also going to be doing a design sprint on personalization. So Denise, our UX lead, will be running a design sprint with our team. So lots of kind of deep dives around ideas to do with personalization, which we'll be looking at for our Q4 roadmap. So the full list presented on the slide is in the partner portal, and also happy to chat further on it in office hours tomorrow. But let's take a closer look at a couple of the upcoming things like personalized promotions. So we now have 8 libraries live with it, and Tim is working with 2 additional libraries to launch in October, which is exciting. So personalized promotions gets the content from BiblioWeb in front of users when they are performing searches. So we are looking to present users with contextual matches for the searches they perform. So you can see in the screenshot, a user has searched for Barbie, and they're presented with a related blog post. So really looking to cross-merchandise users or content to users in relevant places. So if your library wants to get this activated, contact Tim. And if you haven't kind of looked at our documentation yet, the starting point is preparing for personalized promotions, which will prep you in a handful of items to get ready. The next slide is about a number of A/B tests that we ran on our blog post page. So we wanted to increase engagement with additional blog posts once a user was reading a blog post. So we introduced a couple of new card feeds you can see at the bottom of the screenshot. And we ran 4 different A/B tests. The first couple were around positioning the feeds in different places. So we have a similar post feed based on taxonomies, more by this author, and then other new posts for the audience that the blog post is about, or that the blog post is for. So we did 3 A/B tests on desktop, 1 on mobile. You can see screenshots of the different card displays we tried on mobile. And the final winner, which has similar posts along the left, and then more by this author and new posts towards the bottom above the comment block, saw an increase of 180% user engagement into click-through rates on additional posts. So we were very excited for that. And we'll be rolling this functionality out for all libraries in Q4. And the final project I'll talk about is the Spotlight Library program. So BiblioWeb partner libraries have created so many incredible and creative pages using BiblioWeb, pages that are easy to scan and highlight content in interesting ways and are visually engaging. And to celebrate these beautifully designed pages, we've developed a Spotlight Library program. And through this program, we're working with peer-nominated libraries to develop a set of 3 templates based on their pages and making them available to all BiblioWeb libraries through the template library. The templates are paired back to their essential layouts to maximize customization potential, and the responsive and accessibility of the templates is carefully reviewed. The first Spotlight library was Arapaho Libraries, and the next Spotlight library will be announced at the Q4 BiblioWeb quarterly meetup in November. All right, on to BiblioEmail. So with BiblioEmail in Q4, we'll be looking to add 2 new contact fields to contacts in BiblioEmail. So that's library card expiry date and last 4 digits of library card. So for libraries that are doing monthly reminder emails, for patrons whose cards are expiring that month, they can now import these additional data points and include them in the body of the email. So it'll just provide a bit more data to patrons. We're also adding support for custom fields. So this will allow Biblio email customers to request that our support team add additional fields to the contacts in Biblio email, allowing staff to import data and include it in emails or use it for segmentation. So if libraries wanted to send out a thank you email for people who made donations and include the donation amount in the email, or libraries want to include the number of books a patron has read so far as part of a summer reading program, and the tracking is happening in Beanstack. These data points can be imported now through the use of custom fields. And then in research, we're looking into the ability for staff to set a shorter email send window. So currently with Biblio email, when you send an email, there is a 40-hour send window. At times, there may be very timely information, and libraries want to make sure that if a patron joins the relevant segment the next day, that they don't receive that email. So investigating support for that. And to take a look at a couple of features that kind of align to that theme Nina was talking about giving staff peace of mind. I'm going to talk a bit about card expiry and content freshness. So while we've always had automatic card expiry for event cards on BiblioWeb, in Q4, card expiry support for all card types will be going into preview with a number of libraries. And this new functionality allows staff to specify the date to stop promoting a specific card to patrons. So an example, let's say you have a news post about an art exhibit that's running until the end of September at your library, but you don't want that card being promoted after because the patron can't attend the exhibit anymore. You could set the expiry date, and that stops the card from appearing, including in card feeds in BiblioWeb and Biblio email, the Explore page on BiblioWeb, as well as personalized promotions. So that's coming up in preview for a handful of libraries in Q4. And then a few weeks ago, we added smart scheduling with content freshness on Biblio email. So this functionality supports staff scheduling emails with feeds, but ensures there's always fresh content in the emails, even when they're scheduled in advance. So for example, for events, when setting up the event widget, staff can include a timeliness buffer to ensure that patrons receive events happening a number of days after the email is sent. And the same is true for event card feeds. So staff can set these settings once in email templates and use them again and again. And for scheduled emails, we always get the freshest updates for any cards before an email is sent out. So if staff fixed a typo on a card in BiblioWeb that they noticed, that update is retrieved too for Biblio email. And that's all about Biblio email.
Fantastic. Thank you so much to Natasha and Francis and Tim. Now you all have to listen to me again for a little while. So I'll jump right in to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing on our product communications. Unfortunately, our product documentation specialist, Corey, couldn't be here to talk to you about this, so it'll be me. But let's jump right in. Okay, so our overall goal through what we call sort of the life cycle of our products is to better engage and communicate with you, our libraries, at every stage, from idea creation to release and beyond. And so here you'll sort of see some of those life cycle stages. The ideas portal, which hopefully most of you are familiar with at this point, but if not, please let us know and we'll get you started, is where we collect ideas about the features that we will work on. And you might have seen many of the features that our lovely product management team talked about were features that were voted on and updated in the ideas portal. That also we come back there in the end when we do release a feature or update the status as well. Then we have our quarterly roadmaps, and that is including, of course, this session today at BiblioCon, but we also published the print version of it in the partner portal towards the end of each quarter, forecasting to the following quarter. So you'll see it sort of end of September for Q4. Then once things are getting into a release, meaning, in a release for BiblioCore or for BiblioWeb, you'll see release communication and newsletters, et cetera, around that release that will tell you more about what's happening in that specific release and how that's going to change your experience. And then we have partner portal documentation. This is updated alongside that release, as well as continuously with other documentation, webinars, training, et cetera. And then finally, in terms of using those products and taking them to the next level, we're providing case studies, webinars, training, suggestions, et cetera, also mostly launched from the partner portal. So the idea that we're taking this year and into the future is to, at every stage in this process, better engage and communicate with you. So optimizing, hearing your feedback, making sure that each stage is really getting the information to you as soon as possible and in the best way possible. So, Ideas Portal, we launched this technically in 2022, but my request would be to please keep the ideas coming and we'll keep shipping the solutions. Really, we've seen a huge uptick, I'd say, in the past 6 months on growth and engagement here, with engagement from a variety of different libraries, hearing new voices, voices that we don't always necessarily hear from. So please do continue to vote, comment, add context, et cetera. It really makes it easier for us to move your idea through consideration, research, development, and for us to keep you updated. So if you do comment on or upvote an idea, then you can be automatically subscribed to updates on that idea. So when we do move it from review to development or preview or release, you'll be updated. Or if there's a reason why we can't do it or we won't do it, we will also provide that context there. So please do upvote the ideas that you care about, add the ideas that you care about, so that we can continue to ship those valuable things for you. In terms of our quarterly roadmap, so on a sort of 3-month basis, of course, we provide a detailed view of what we're working on. And this is quite an extensive list. We try to pull out some highlights of big themes or things that are major releases that are coming out or major previews that are happening in sort of the top section, but then each product also has this extensive detailed view on what they are shipping, previewing, developing, researching, et cetera. Very similar to what you saw today in the presentation. So please do hit the follow button, not to sound like a YouTube influencer, but do hit the follow button to get new updates on new articles, and it's released each quarter, so you can make sure that you stay up to date. We also include these in our newsletter, et cetera, but do follow along with us so you know what's happening. That will give you a preview into what ends up in each release. And so we've been working pretty hard this year on improving these. We've run a number of A/B tests in our emails around our email releases. So hopefully you've noticed some significant changes. We've added wayfinding tools like these small, what we call lozenges or tags, to indicate when something is a new feature, is in preview, or was a partner suggestion that came from that ideas portal. So we're trying to sort of connect the dots through that life cycle that way, also improve the scannability, and help you to sort of get a quick hit in your email box, understand the broad strokes of the release, but then please do go to the partner portal for the full release notes, because that's where you're going to get all of the context and the critical information about how those features work. And those would be far too long to include in an email. So we do keep them in the partner portal, and that's where you'll get the most up-to-date and the most accurate information on each of those features. Next, in the partner portal itself. So for those of you who might not be familiar, the partner portal is really our one-stop shop for all the information about what our products do and how to use them, et cetera, as well as system updates, those kinds of things. So we know that this is super important. And as our partner group grows and as we welcome wonderful new customers, but also as we grow our features, we want to make sure that the partner portal itself is usable, accessible, all of the things. And so very similar to the process that we use on our actual products, we are now conducting usability studies and improvements and testing on the partner portal interface itself. So thank you very much to those of you who have joined us so far. Special shout out to Carol Ma, because this is a screenshot of her individual study session. But your answers, your working through all these tasks and helping us to understand how you use the partner portal is helping us to inform next year major changes that we'll make there. And in the background, we've actually already made a few changes, improving tagging in the back end to make sure that search results are becoming more relevant, increasing cross-posting, those kinds of things, increasing connections between sections in the partner portal to make it more usable. But do keep the feedback coming. This is not a one-time usability study. We're always interested in what you have to say about this tool because it is for you. So we'd love more feedback. If you have it, please let me know or Corey know, and we'll make sure to include that in our designs going forward. One of the major things we will be doing is taking a look at the information architecture. So we have a lot of feedback already, but if you do have that, we'd love to hear more about that from you. Or if you're interested in participating, do let me know. All right, next, product documentation itself. So we have an amazing tradition of product documentation here. We'll continue on with that. As we get more and more into data in particular, we've heard feedback from our customers that this is a bit of a new field for a lot of folks. And so we're trying to add a bit of a different twist on some of that documentation, and we're providing sort of follow along step-by-step instructions in a couple of different ways. We've got more examples where you can replicate the explorations, and we'll talk about that a little bit more this afternoon in the BiblioCommons analytics platform session. But those are sort of follow along examples where you can build the same report and see if you get the same results. We're also building case studies to help you understand sort of not only how to build a report itself, but how to take yourself from asking a question about your data through to actioning that data. So through the steps of the data analysis process, which are ask, prepare, process, analyze, share, and act. So really trying to help people build the muscle, again, of data analysis through this documentation that they can take at their own pace. And those are also including video training. So we also heard, I'd love to be able to watch a YouTube video of the actual action of creating the report and be able to pause it and replicate myself as we go forward. So we've also included those. And then, of course, webinars and training. So these are specifically major improvements in the analytics area, but also you'll see throughout our documentation in the partner portal that intention to increase wayfinding, connect things to the ideas portal, make sure you understand, again, the full life cycle from the idea creation through to idea development and release, and making sure all of those loops get closed. So do provide us your feedback. If you have questions, concerns, ideas about how we can improve our product communications, do send them our way. Okay. And finally, I want to talk about our new big project, which we've talked about probably previously. If you've joined us before, you've probably heard me talk about it, but it's really where we're going in terms of BiblioCommons. We have always been dedicated to patron engagement, and we've been building it along the way. And now that we have new data tools, new abilities, and new opportunities ahead of us, and a number of great partners, we're looking at what the next vision is for patron engagement and how to measure it, how to improve it, not just on our own tools and our own product suite, but for public libraries writ large. So where are we going? Ultimately, our vision is that public libraries like yourselves and BiblioCommons will cultivate and sustain what we call sticky, engaged patrons. So folks that really feel the value of the public library and the offerings that you have and come back again and again. And we're going to do that empowered by best-in-class privacy-first tools, including a shared North Star and, of course, a data team to develop it. And what does that really mean? We want to build a singular metric, but then also provide additional KPIs that helps us to understand how engaged a different population is with each library. And that will allow us, that singular metric or that small set of metrics will allow us to create benchmarks, will allow us to create location mapping, those kinds of things. Again, privacy first, so there will be no personally identifiable information, and we'll be using, explicit signals, census data, those kinds of things to help map where your engagement lies in your community around your population, and then benchmark against lookalikes, whether that's a lookalike library, a lookalike branch, lookalike demographics, those kinds of things. So it doesn't just end there. It's not just going to be a tool with maps and things like that, although that will exist. It'll also be a set of community. We're going to build a community of practice around it to help facilitate experimentation and all kinds of connection across different libraries where you share a data language and are then able to experiment with each other, share best practices, and help to evolve those sticky engaged patrons together. And most importantly, we are going to share that metric. And so we will then build all of our products and tools. As you've seen, we already do a lot of testing and making sure that our features are further engaging patrons. But sharing that metric takes it to the next level because it means that our definition of success is the same, and that we will build features, products, et cetera, that will drive patron engagement for everyone and create, create and cultivate sticky engaged patrons across the network and lift all boats together. So we're very excited about that. So how will we get there? We've already got some fantastic founding partners in Columbus, King County, Pima, and San Francisco. So thank you to all of these fabulous libraries. They've been joining us along the road this year, providing some fantastic feedback, kicking the tires on some hypotheses that we have, as well as some early reporting and dashboarding that we've been doing. So huge thank you to those fantastic libraries. We're also, like I said earlier, bringing on what we call early North Star partners. So those are partners to join us here in 2024 and beyond. And those are folks to come on and give further feedback and help to shape what we are developing into a product that will go live in 2025. And that is really the place where you'll be able to see that data, engage with the data, and then start to build that experimentation practice for you and your library. So, to tell you a little bit about what we've done so far. Last year in 2022, we started to assemble this best-in-class patron data team. We established our fantastic founding library partners. And going into 2023, we've been doing a significant amount of research. So we started with a broad literature review to understand how engagement is measured in public libraries, in academic libraries, in industry, et cetera, really making sure we understand what are the different ways that engagement can be measured and how can we do that. We also did a number of workshops to identify hypotheses that we thought would identify that North Star metric for public libraries. And now we are kicking the tires on those hypotheses with our with our founding partner libraries, and they're giving us feedback, helping us to refine those hypotheses. In the background, we're also working on all of the data tools and best practices. So we won't be able to test those hypotheses until we've got that data foundation and that infrastructure in place. And so over the course of last year and this year, you saw us implement BiblioCommons analytics platform, like I said earlier, that creates the data foundation for what we're building, although we are going to include other types of data that we have access to, of course, like I said, census data, those kinds of things, no personally identifiable information. But we're building that infrastructure now, and we're starting to work on the modeling and figuring out what reporting and best practices would look like across the network. And we're starting with GA4 data. So we've built some dashboards that our founding partners are giving feedback on, but that will further evolve into sort of interactive products in the future. So where are we going next? Still lots of work to do. This is a very ambitious project. And so where things are going, we're going to build that data partner community. We do want additional voices to bring fresh perspective to that, to the project, and help to further shape the data model and product. Because of course, all of you, we want everyone to use it and we want it to be useful to everyone. And so how more voices will help us to understand that. And then, of course, we're working on the product itself with an intention to launch it in 2025. And when it does launch, the purpose is to enable experimentation and advancements to measure and increase patron engagement. So we want to be able to help you build strategy and build experimentation at the broader level, at the library level, but also at the branch level, help you to understand, places where you might be underserving certain demographics or certain zip codes, and how might you create an experiment, or how might you work with another library that has a similar zip code or a similar demographic to engage that community. So that's where that's what we want the product to deliver, and that's where we'll be in 2025. So a quick pitch at the end. We would love to welcome a couple of new early North Star partners. Please contact your customer success rep for more information. If you do join us, you'll be helping to lead the way. Our data forward partners help to showcase and drive real insight, and they help to create a great model that we can reflect to new to data libraries. You'll help to shape the product. So ultimately, partner libraries are helping us determine the right North Star, the right things to be tracking, things that will actually be useful. And we want to make sure your library's needs are well represented in that group. So that will really help you to help us shape the product in the right ways, and then connect with the community. So we are going to do, of course, like I said, meetups across the whole network, but even within this smaller community where maybe, you're a little bit further ahead on your data journey, you can help to share and shape the data language and metrics that we're using, and connect and compare and start to experiment right away. We actually have some connections that we're creating now to start running experiments just based on the data that we're collecting using GA4. So would love to welcome you to that group. Do contact me or your customer success rep for more information, and we'd love to have you join us. All right. With that, I will just say thank you. That was an action-packed hour, I know, but I hope you stayed with us, and I hope that it was informative and useful. As our lovely product management team mentioned, all of the details around the individual product roadmaps will be available in the partner portal next week. So do stay tuned to that. I will invite you also to attend my session this afternoon, shameless plug, about BiblioCommons analytics platform, where we'll go deep dive into all of the steps that your library can take to make data lovable. And then ultimately, I just want to thank you all for joining us this year, and for staying on with us next year. We've got lots more to deliver. We can't wait to share these features with you, and share these products with you, and help public libraries thrive. So that's it from me and the team.
Thank you. Thank you, Nina. And thank you, Natasha, Francis, and Tim for sharing all of the product updates. To our attendees, if you happen to have any roadmap questions, please add them to the chat panel on the right side of your screen. And I did share a link a little bit earlier. If you do have product-specific questions that are feature-based, they can be addressed in tomorrow's office hours. So please submit your questions. You can upvote questions as well. We have 2 more minutes, so let's maximize on our time. We did have one question come in, and it came in during Tim's portion when you were talking about events. Lori Golden from Canton Public Library asked, will patrons need to have an account to view these event module changes? For example, to see what they're registered for, or to cancel any events?
Yeah, that's right. So one thing about this feature is it will need users to log in with their library card, barcode and PIN, to see the event on their account. Right now, users have the ability to do that, but it doesn't have a huge payoff for them because they don't have any sort of account management tools. So this provides a bit of an incentive to perhaps log in and do that. Users will be able to continue to register for an event without needing to put in their barcode and PIN, so they don't have to log in, but The added benefit now, of course, is if you do that, you'll be able to manage your event attendance as part of your account. So yeah, both options will exist, and this provides users just a better experience online to manage their event attendance.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I don't see any other questions coming in, but we'll have you all check out FeedLoop a little bit later, just in case any questions do come in, and you could answer them right on the chat. Once again, thank you for your time and sharing all the details, and thank you to all of our attendees for being with us for the first session of day 2. We'll see you in the next session that's happening at 11:40 Eastern. Thanks a lot, everyone.